Hello, and welcome to Dish Shelved with Adam White. I promised you'd see this again, and here it is. I've not read the whole thing yet, but I'm working my way through it. Ray Bradbury, 100 of his best stories. Uh, I also have a Library of America edition of his Martian Chronicles and Fahrenheit 451 and uh, several of his other novels. Um, I just have never really read that much Ray Bradbury, and so I thought it was probably past time to start. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about three short stories because I know not everybody has the time to go and read a whole book every now and again, and that it takes you some time to do that. So I wanted to pick some stories that you could read in one setting and have a lot of fun with. These three stories are probably more on the spectrum towards horror stories, um, but the this one takes place in like present time, and Ray Bradbury's story does. It's called "The Whole Town Sleeping." Uh, the other ones are "It" by Theodore Sturgeon and "The Streets of Ashkelon" by Harry Harrison. Uh, and one of them takes place in the future, the Harry Harrison one does, and the It takes place in a little bit of the past, not too far back. This takes place in our past too, because it was probably contemporary at the time, but looking at it now and the stuff they were doing and wearing and talking about, were older than that. I'm not sure what the date is on any of these stories, but the Ray Bradbury one, While the Town's Sleeping, is a fantastic horror story. There's these three women, young women, that are out and they're going to go and walk to the movie theater and see a Charlie Chaplin film. So that again kind of dates it, which is fine because it works as a story no matter when it takes place. But um, they're out and they talk about how there's uh, this murderer that's been strangling a woman once a month, and that there's been several bodies found, and that it's been about a month and a girl had disappeared and they didn't know what happened to her, and would they ever find out what happened to her. And um, I don't, again, I hate to say much about short stories because I don't want to give anything away because they're really fun. This one has a fantastic ending, just perfect for a story. It was a great one. It's the first story in this book, but even after all the other ones I'd read, I wanted to talk about it because I loved the ending of this story. It's just so creepy. And anyway, these girls are out and they talk to the cops and who are out, and they say, you really shouldn't be out. And they're like, oh, the strangler won't bother me and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, it's a really good story and I really recommend it highly. It's available in this and probably other of his collections. This is just called Bradbury Stories. It's a big book, but um, it wasn't very expensive on Amazon anyway. But great story. Really recommend it. The Whole Town's Sleeping. Uh, Great story by him. Now, the next one I read in the complete collected editions of Theodore Sturgeon. And I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have the book to show you, but it was the first of his collected volumes, of which I think there's 13. So I've got a ways to go on those. But the story is called It, and they did it also in Supernatural Thrillers #1 of Marvel Comics. They did, this was back, I think, in the 70s or could have been the 60s. Uh, and I didn't check the indicia on this, but um, I remembered I had this comic, and I read the story. I'd read the comic a long time ago, but it's the whole issue is dedicated to this story, and usually they didn't do that. Usually they just put multiple stories in, and um, it was a really creepy story. If you're familiar at all with DC's Swamp Thing, they probably got some of the idea from that from the story, because I mean it's not really similar, but it's just this thing that that they come in contact with. But anyway, it's about a man and his wife and his little girl, and his brother lives with him, and his brother has a dog named Kimbo. And Kimbo always runs out into the woods and will tree a raccoon or find a rabbit place, or do something with that, and then the brother will go after him and find him, and then and his brother's an excellent shot. And everybody always says, oh, anything that can be shot, he doesn't need to be afraid of because he's such a good shot. And anyway, the dog goes out and finds something unexpected this time. And the man goes out because it's getting late, and his dog Kimbo hasn't come back. And he goes out in search of him and is out the whole night looking for him. And then he discovers something very strange. And then the brother that's the other husband, that's the husband, his wife is like, you really need to go look for your brother, and see what's happened, because he doesn't ever stay out this late, and he doesn't like shirk his chores on and leave them just to his brother like he had done today. And so he goes out to find his brother, and he finds his brother, who is still looking for his dog at that point, but he tells him he'll shoot him if he tries to keep him from finding his dog, because he really loves this dog. And the brother finally gets fed up and goes back. Well, the little girl wants to find her uncle, so she goes out, she gets involved, horror ensues, and the dad has to find his daughter, and they find another guy out there looking for they say they're looking for the final resting place of a certain someone, and he's some kind of solicitor or something. And anyway, it's really freaky the way it turns out, and really interesting. It ends on kind of an up note considering the dark matter of the rest of it. But anyway, that's all I'll say about that one. It's called It. Like I said, I read it in the first volume of Theodore Sturgeon's collected works. I think the first volume is called The Ultimate Egoist. Uh, if you really want to spend even less time, you can read a pretty faithful adaptation in Supernatural Thrillers #1 from Marvel Comics, if you can find that. But I thought that it was a really neat thing that they did here, that they spent the whole issue, and a lot of it was printed material right from the story, and then they had some of the dialogue, of course, was put in word balloons and stuff. But they told the story as it was and did a really good job of it. So I always recommend reading the actual short story over the comic version, but You can do it either way or both, and it works pretty well. Now, the other one I read, I don't have even, I think I might have it in a book, Harry Harrison's 50 for 50. I think it's in that book. It's called The Streets of Ashkelon. But I actually read it online for free at Lightspeed Magazine. I'm going to put a link in the description that will take you to the story so you don't even have to buy anything for this one. You can just read it. And I want to tell you right now, it's one of my favorite short stories of all time. It's it's got horror elements to it. It's got science fiction elements to it. Uh, it's about a guy who is on a planet of it's an alien race that is, really early along in its evolution as a species. And I mean, they can talk and interact and have towns and stuff, but they do trade by barter system and stuff like that. And he does trades with them and has kind of cornered the market on their stuff and sells it off world and has a great relationship with the aliens there. Somebody else, and I'm not going to say who or what he does, shows up. And he's like, great, here's somebody that's going to try to encroach on my territory. Well, it isn't exactly that. The guy that shows up is another human, but he's there for something totally different. And the main guy thinks, well, that's probably not a good idea. Just because this species take things literally at the place they're in right now in their evolution, it's something you really probably shouldn't do. And of course, the other guy will hear none of it and say that he is, of course, righteous in what he does. And anyway, the other guy starts doing what he's there for, which again, I don't want to say what because I don't want to ruin any of the story. It's a really good one. And anyway, he the main guy ends up being correct that that the guy shouldn't have done what he done, and then when you find out the reason why, then it's just really creepy what happens to the other guy. And again, I don't want to say much about this story. It's called The Streets of Ashkelon, Ashkelon. If you do a search for it or for Lightspeed Magazine, you can find it, like I said, for free and read it online. And I'd highly recommend it because it's a really great story. Anyway, I've probably taken up more time than it would take you to read the three stories talking about them. So, anyway, I'll leave it at that. Again, It by Theodore Sturgeon, The Streets of Ashkelon by Harry Harrison, and The Whole Town Sleeping by Ray Bradbury. Check those stories out. You won't regret it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you again sooner than later.